Welcome back, True Seeker. More entertainment tragedy in the headlines. This time it's Hollywood movie star Val Kilmer, gone at the relatively young age of 65, reportedly from pneumonia. The news passed on by his daughter, Mercedes Kilmer. And CNN has this as one of their top stories this morning, showing him accepting an Oscar. Of course, the Oscars just passed. They say film star known for Top Gun, Batman Forever, and Tombstone. And sure, those were all big films for Kilmer. We're going to look at his death in relation to the release date of those films. But honestly, when I think of Val Kilmer, well, there's a lot of movies you think of, but I think of him portraying Jim Morrison of the Doors. And I want to show you some things that are interesting, and it connects with Tom Cruise, of course, the bigger star in Top Gun. If you're new here, I would encourage you to read my first book, Letters and Numbers, and read the section on the death of Jim Morrison, as well as his girlfriend, the girlfriend who found him dead. But with that said, again, what we look at here is something called gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words. And why do we look at this? Because it's been alluded to that it has a lot to do with death and killing. There's a song out there called Gematria, the killing name. There's another song out there called Murder by Numbers, where the lyrics are, killing is as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. There's Agatha Christie's The ABC Murders, which was made into an Amazon show, as well as her original book, etc., etc. And then there's also nearly now 12 years of research by yours truly showing just how redundant all of this is. So to begin, if you're new here, there's 4 base ciphers of the English language, and we're going to touch on how all 4 matter. We're going to get to that in light of Jim Morrison at the end. But there's 4 base ciphers. ABC is 1, 2, 3, the most simple cipher, like the Jackson 5 song. That's the simple English gematria. A is 1 up to Z, the 26 letters 26. There's the reverse alphabetic order. Z is 1 back to A is 26, doing the alphabet in reverse. And then there's both orders with numerology applied, and that's what you're looking at with pneumonia. The alphabetic order forwards and in reverse with numerology applied. Pneumonia equals 45. Val Kilmer has died just before the anniversary of Top Gun's release on May 16th. And do you see how the film is 38 years old and change right now? Tom Cruise, from his July 3rd birthday to today, is 38 weeks and days. So 38 years and change since the movie, 38 weeks and days since Tom Cruise's birthday, which is also Jim Morrison's death anniversary, July 3rd. If you're new here, 38 is the number we talk about more than anything when it comes to death. And I'd encourage everybody to look up the movie poster for the film Murder by Numbers, where they change the letters so that one of the letters, the E becomes a 3 and the B becomes an 8. 3, 8. In gematria, death equals 38, murder equals 38, killing equals 38, RIP equals 38, drown equals 38. That's what they say happened to Jim Morrison. But yes, Val Kilmer, probably his biggest movie is Top Gun, and he has died 45 days before its anniversary. Another big 45 is the word ritual. Ritual equals 45. In light of him portraying Batman, he's died 309 days after the anniversary of Batman's release. Batman equates to 39. The key digits in 309 are 3 and 9. In numerology terms, 0 is null. And keep in mind, Batman's set in New York. They call it Gotham. But of course, New York is the land of 39. In the 4 base ciphers, New York equals 39, NY equals 39, NYC equals 39, New York, comma, NY equals 39. Again, the United Nations there is 39 floors tall. Long history of 39 in New York. Again, CNN calls out these 3 movies, Top Gun, Batman Forever, and Tombstone. Of course, Tombstone's what you get when you die. It's also the town where, a lot of Western stories have gone back to. But that film released on Christmas, or Sol Invictus, and that's the day leading 6 days left in the year. Val Kilmer died April 1st, the 91st day of the year, so 91 plus 6 is 97. Death equates to 97. You get a tombstone when you die. He's dead 97 days after the anniversary of Tombstone. But again, I think the role where he probably did his best work was portraying Jim Morrison of the Doors. And notice how the Doors has a gematria value of 41, like how he died on April 1st, 4-1. And that film released in 91, and he died on the 91st day of the year. Again, Jim Morrison was found dead in a bathtub by his girlfriend. If you don't know the story about Jim Morrison, his father was a high-ranking member of the U.S. Navy, and he actually had a lot to do with the start of the Vietnam War. And the same day that his father retired from the military is the same day that Jim Morrison died. And just think about how bizarre that is. If you didn't know that, look into that, because that is an absolute fact. Jim Morrison born one day after the anniversary of Pearl Harbor, which happened in 41. He was born December 8th, 43. But yes, his death anniversary is Tom Cruise's birthday. Jim Morrison died on the 9th birthday of Tom Cruise. And, you know, maybe a little bit mathematical or maybe part of the ritual. We talked about how this death comes 45 days before the anniversary of Top Gun's release. 45 is the 9th triangular number. It means if you had 1 through 9 together, it equates to 45. But yes, dead on 4-1 on the 91st day of the year. And dead at 65. And do you know what year the Doors formed? In 65. Of course, the word music equates to 65. This ritual happens while both the Illuminati and the United States of America are 248 years old. Jim Morrison's birth name is James Douglas Morrison, which equates to 248. And this year will mark the 54th anniversary since Jim Morrison's passing. The 54th anniversary. Again, if you're new here, I always say all of the roads lead to Rome, and all roads with these ritual sacrifices seem to lead to the Jesuits, who gave us the language and the calendar and synced up this twisted system. You can see in the base ciphers how Jesuit order equates to 144, 54. It's going to be the 54th anniversary of Jim Morrison's death on July 3rd. 153 and 72. And look at Jim Morrison. Has the 72, obviously, the 144, and the 153. So what do you know? The man who portrayed him in Hollywood dies just before the 54th anniversary. Again, 38 weeks and days after the anniversary of his passing. Also 38 weeks and days after the anniversary, after Tom Cruise's last birthday. And again, 38 years and change after the film released. And if you're new here, that's the number I talk about more than anything when it comes to death. Death, murder, killing, RIP, they all equal 38. You can look up the movie poster for Murder by Numbers, and you'll get the gist of it. So RIP to Val Kilmer. Again, he had a lot of films. There's probably a lot more to this. Heat, a lot of big films Val Kilmer was in. We'll leave it there for now, and until next time.